Alright folks, we've returned to start chapter 3 of Slash and Burn. Dash it all, Matthew. I feel as though we're no closer to catching the person who stabbed Harriet Patrick. That poor creature. She came all the way to Concordia full of dreams for a better future, only to meet her end. Matthew, the fire brigade has contacted the airship. They cannot seem to put the fire out. You must get to the crime scene as quickly as you can to secure whatever evidence remains. I think I see at least one clue.
You know, it's funny how that happened. There I was, staying up last night, coming up with excuses to get out of this.
Mary Patrick.
Water lily. That's what I call myself sometimes.
Moran.
You've never done anything like this.
Locked crate. There we go. 7th. Again. Matthew, do steer clear of the buildings. They're still on fire and may crumble at any minute. It's not safe. You're right. We mustn't panic. Let's have a look at this bag you retrieved. You're right. The name on this ditty bag is familiar. This belongs to Aiden Moran. We should have a look through it, Matthew. And that locked crate could hold evidence. Excellent point. Have at that lock, Matthew. And how did Mary Patrick's notebook end up here? Should we have a look inside? The pages are filled with names and that complicated code that has become so popular in Concordia. I believe you saw it in your previous investigation? Oh, well spotted, Matthew. Our victim's name is in this notebook. Then we had better use that handy machine of Mr. DuPont's to decrypt the symbols next to her name. Let us rally, Matthew. We need a lead if we are to capture and arrest Harriet Patrick's killer. Okay. YLE. BWQ 2SA. There we go. Ooh. Goodness gracious, that's Harriet Patrick's cow. Why was she locked up in a crate? What are you doing letting that monster go free? You can't let a murderer roam the streets. What on earth are you talking about, Mrs. Gelber? I'll admit that bovines are no friends of mine, but I have never accused one of murder. Give me that beast. It will be punished. Please, Mrs. Gelber, calm yourself. Matthew, can't we tie this animal up somewhere while we speak with Mrs. Gelber? I don't want it to ruin my suit. Sure. Did I hear you correctly, Mrs. Gelber? You're accusing our victim's cow of murder? My house, with my Itzik and Esther inside, it went poof, up in flames. Then I saw that cow, her cow. It kicked over the oil lamp in the market. The lamp hit the hay and started the fire. I saw it with my own eyes. Madam, are you quite sure that a single cow could start a citywide fire? And this is why you blamed the victim for the death of your family? Victim? Ha! It is right that she died after her neglect caused this fire. Her cow will also get its just punishment. Oh, Mrs. Gelber, you are clearly in a lot of pain and reason has fled your mind. Please come with us and get to safety. No, I must protect Concordia from this monster cow. And
navigable waters. I don't believe that this court has any jurisdiction. That sounds legal to me. Counselor, your last day has been a good one. Case dismissed.
there we go. And one more.
When you're looking for answers, it's good to have help. Because the right information at the right
Darn it.
time may make all the difference. At Humana, we know that's especially true when you're looking for a Medicare supplement insurance plan.
Oh,
That's why we're offering this
5.
7 things every Medicare supplement should have. And it's yours free. Just call
There we go.
1-888-310-8492. You see, Medicare covers more than 80% of your Part B medical expenses.
Splendid work, Matthew. The code you found next to the victim's name in her cousin's notebook gave us a set of numbers. And who better to tell us what those numbers correspond to than Miss Holloway? I am sure she will find the answer to this riddle in her many books.
No deductibles or co-payments for doctor visits, hospital stays, emergency care, and more. You can keep the doctors you have now. Ones you know and trust. With no referrals needed.
Okay, sailor bag.
Get medical care anywhere in the country, even when you're traveling. With Humana, you get a competitive monthly premium and personalized service from a healthcare partner working with
The victim's locket.
and consultants.
How on earth did the victim's locket end up in Mr. Moran's bag? He told us they had never even seen each other again. We better grab a little chat with Moran and get to the bottom of this.
Call Humana now at 1-888-310-8492.
About the victim's locket.
1-888-310-8492.
Mr. Moran, Matthew found this locket among your belongings. We thought you hadn't seen Harriet again. Fine, I did see Harriet. Nothing came of it. We'll be the judge of that. What transpired between you and Harriet? Well, I professed my love for her, of course. I took her out to dinner. I ordered beef and stout pie for the both of us, but she didn't seem to like it. After dinner, I thought we were going along fine, but she resisted my advances. I should hope that you were a gentleman and left her alone. Well, I roughed her up a little. In the scuffle, I ripped off her locket. You roughed her up? You, sir, are a scoundrel. You had better keep yourself to yourself around the women of Concordia, or you shall have no end of trouble with Marshal Matthew.
More changes and more confusion. What can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Right now, my money's on Moran. Mary Patrick is cleared. I'd like to bust this doofus, but I can't. It's either Colin James or Aidan Moran, but we'll see what happens. I'll get the remaining stars here, so for now, this is Matthew. See y'all then. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the code. Matthew, this is an intriguing set of numbers you found in that notebook, and it took me a while to sort them out. The numbers correspond to a wire transfer of money, something all the telegraph offices are doing these days. It's all rather technologically advanced for me. You can't send real money, but funds from one account can be credited to another account across long distances. Can you imagine? I can, actually. I used a service last week to send money to my cousin in New Orleans. Well, that's exactly what Mary Patrick did, Matthew. She sent money to her cousin when Harriet was still in Ireland. A large sum, 500 Concordian shillings. 500 Concordian shillings? Why, that's more than the cost of steerage from Dublin to Concordia. Shall we ask Mary Patrick what this was about?
I pulled photos and emails off his computer. Victim likes to party.
97.
About the money she sent?
South Beach, Palm Springs, P-Town.
Mary Patrick, Marshal Matthew discovered that you transferred 500 Concordian shillings to your cousin before she arrived in Concordia.
And 5 years later,
Oh, you found my ledger. Thank goodness for that. I thought it had burned up.
I don't know why.
And of course I sent Harriet money. She needed to pay for the ticket. That leaves 425 Concordian shillings, Miss Patrick. You were very generous.
This one's called infurvaton.
Generous?
Infurvaton
She didn't leave me a choice. We had to pay double to get a ticket for that bloody cow. I pawned my fiddle to get that money to her. But she was going to pay me back for the boat ticket and all the food I'd given her since she arrived. I made things easier for her by keeping the expensive beef and stout pie for myself. She just ate potatoes. She would have taken all I had. She would have taken all I had if I didn't keep an eye on her. I saw how she looked in my new Wellingtons. Well, your Wellington boots are safe now, aren't they, Miss Patrick? But you're not off our suspect list just yet. Blast, Matthew. We have so many suspects with motives, I don't know which way to turn. A young woman full of hopes and dreams was murdered. We cannot let her killer escape punishment. You're quite right. We found the switchblade used to kill Harriet Patrick in the market. Perhaps the killer left more evidence in the market while running away. Let's head there on the double, Matthew.
When his mother was sick, Robin came home. I hadn't seen him in years. When he was 16, he told us he was gay. I couldn't deal with it. I kicked him out. When he came back, I barely recognized him. He looked terrible. I asked him what was wrong. He said he had a drug problem. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't.
Okay, I see at least one clue.
Entire life savings paying for his rehabs. I couldn't even afford a proper funeral for my wife. Robin
Bloody maid apron.
never stayed clean more than a few months. I knew it was just a matter of time before he overdosed.
Cart.
So while he was clean, you took out an insurance policy to get your money back?
There we go.
I knew Robin was lying. If it wasn't for drugs, it would be AIDS. Or that boyfriend of his.
They had a violent relationship.
Last time I spoke to Robin, he called from the emergency room. Crying that the guy had beat him up.
Dear me, it appears that someone wiped their bloody hands on this maid's apron. But why would a maid's apron have so much blood on it, unless this could be Harriet's? There is some sort of black powdery substance on the apron as well. We ought to collect a sample as quickly as you can. And yes, certainly, if you feel there is a clue in that vegetable cart, dig in. I won't stop you.
What the hell happened?
Finn,
Tuesday on Saving Hope. Emergency surgery leads to paralysis. And I feel my legs. And Dr. Harris is determined to find out what happened without the help of spirits. Surgeon Cricket fractured his cruciate wires. We don't use them anymore to repair clavicles because they break.
There we go.
how did you do that?
6 energy. Capital collection, Matthew. Let's get this black powder sample from the apron to Viola right away.
It's the Sears Black Friday Appliance event. Doorbuster deals start at 6 p.m. this Thanksgiving. Save 54% on this Kenmore refrigerator. Plus save 49% when you buy this Kenmore laundry pair. And 54% off this Kenmore gas range.
How long?
Self-tested.
9 hours.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet.
And let's examine the cart.
If you use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to
Victim's
Industrial
purse.
Cellular. Our average customer pays about
You found a class purse in the vegetable cart, and the victim's name is embroidered right into the fabric.
Start at just $10 a month.
This is fancy embroidery.
Bill that's easy
It must have been one of her most prized possessions. But whatever this purse held is long gone. Perhaps the killer emptied it before tossing it into the cart.
Received a JD Power.
Viola needs to take a look at this. Let us get this purse to her post haste.
Receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free
15 hours. I'll see you guys when that's done. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the black powder. Matthew, have I got news for you. The black powder sample you collected from the victim's apron was soot. Of course, my curiosity led me to take a look at the apron in question, and I compared the hand traces of soot on the apron to those of the blood. The traces matched both in breadth and length. They were left by the same person, the killer. Soot, being a mass of impure carbon particles, is very hard to be rid of. Once it's on a fabric or one's skin, it can take some time to remove it entirely. So the killer probably still has a sizable amount of soot on themselves. Let us hope they haven't cleaned up their act, Matthew. I figured that soot stain would be that black stain would be a clue. But let's go ahead and speed up the purse. This is for 10. While it's clear that this class purse belonged to the victim, Matthew, I had a hard time determining if the killer touched it. Dash it all, Viola. Why did you call us to come speak with you about the purse then? Calm yourself, Bontemps. I was having difficulty until I found hair in the hinge of the purse's clasp. It was blonde hair. Not red hair like the victim's, and not brown like her cow's. There's no doubt, Matthew, the killer must have transferred their hair to the purse when they took it from the victim. Ergo, the killer has blonde hair. This should whittle down the suspect list substantially. Matthew, I believe we have sufficient evidence to find Harriet Patrick's killer and put them behind bars for a very long time. Okay, let's take care of this killer. It is certainly not Mary Patrick. She dodged a major bullet. It's not Aidan Moran. It's the butler, Colin James. Yep. Colin James, you are under arrest for the murder of Harriet Patrick. What? I know I was once a bad man, but there's no need to tarnish my present and future with my past. You tarnished it yourself, wiping soot from your hands on Harriet's apron after you stabbed her. It may have escaped your attention, but Concordia is on fire. There's soot everywhere. That may be, but you left some of your hair in the clasp of the victim's purse. I resent these vile accusations. I have held a respectable position in the Trefusis household for years. I shall not be besmirched like this. Your respectable years made you careless. You left the murder weapon right next to the body. You lie! I know I got rid of that switchblade. Oh, you did you? We've got you dead to rights. No. Please, you don't understand. Harriet caught me stealing the silverware. She was going to tell Trefusis. He would have had me arrested for theft, and I'd have gone straight back to jail. And I can't go back there. I can't. It's hell on earth. That blasted machine, the treadmill, the guards make us walk on a revolving wheel. We can't stop for hours. Scraped my shins to the bone. But Harriet wouldn't listen to my pleas. She ran away. So I caught up with her and I did what I had to do. What you did was stab an innocent girl over and over again like she was an animal, Mr. James. There is no excuse for that. And you did it in vain, too. You're going straight back to the jail you were so keen to avoid. You're under arrest. Mr. Colin James, you stand before this court accused of the murder of Harriet Patrick, whom you stabbed a staggering 13 times? I did, Your Honor. You clearly wanted to be absolutely certain she would die. I didn't dare take any chances, Your Honor. I'd say you took a rather large chance assuming that the law would never catch you. Mr. James, this court hereby sentences you to 25 years in a jail with monotonous, meaningless labor. You'll be on the treadmill, I should think. No, Your Honor, please. Not the treadmill, please. Colin James's crime begs one of the great questions of our time, Matthew. Can criminals ever truly reform? I have yet to understand how forcing prisoners to march for hours on a giant wheel of steps will help them mend their ways. Matthew, Rivki Gelber is still wandering around the burning streets. She's the only one on that street who refuses to evacuate. I was afraid of this. We better see if we can appeal to what reason is left in that poor woman's mind. Our work here remains incomplete, Matthew.
We're not racists.
Taking a look at the other ones. Rivki Gelber cleared from the start. Aidan Moran, no soot stains. Mary Patrick, no blonde hair. Oscar Trefusis cleared from the start also. It was Colin James, the butler. I'll see you guys for A New Beginning 2-6.